You know what? No. I'm going to go no now. Aaron Judge is not a Hall of Famer.
Hello,
Hey, Ben, how you
hello.
doing, man?
Hey, hey guys, how's it going?
Good,
Good,
thank you.
good. Just want to let you know real quick, we are live on YouTube, and we've got about 50 people in the chat watching, so we'll just jump right into it and get
Cool.
going.
Hey everyone. Sounds good.
Okay.
Thanks so much for your time, buddy. Really appreciate
Yeah,
it. So,
you got it.
you've got a hard out at 3:30, correct?
Yeah, that works
Okay.
great for me if that works on your end.
Yeah,
Perfect.
of course. We're just happy you're making
Cool.
time, my man.
Absolutely. And you guys can see and hear me okay?
Yeah.
You look good. You sound great.
Awesome. Likewise.
All right. So, we're very excited to have returning to the show writer and analyst for Sportsnet, Blue Jays insider, Ben Nicholson-Smith. Welcome back to the Walk-Off, man.
Thanks for having me on. It's great to be talking some baseball with you guys.
It always is, especially in a scenario like this. Man, we're down to a magic number of 2 after the Blue Jays swept the Red Sox in their final home series of the regular season. Obviously, nothing's in stone, and knock on all the wood, we don't wish to upset the baseball gods, but barring a complete disaster, it looks like the Blue Jays should have home field advantage here. Could you feel it in the air over the Red Sox series? Like, is there some playoff excitement in Toronto right now? Like, is it comparing at all to 15, 16, or is it ramping up?
I still think it's ramping up. It's definitely, we're seeing some good crowds, and that's great that people are showing up for the Yankees series, for the Red Sox series. That's a really good sign. I still think at the same time that there's more to come when it comes to the energy and the intensity. And I think back to the Yankees series and Garrett Cole on the mound. The Jays fans basically forced Garrett Cole to balk, and I mean that's a great thing. That's part of why home field advantage does matter, even if it doesn't totally change the outcome of a series usually. So I think there are more moments like that to come for the Jays, and certainly if it is this weekend against the Mariners, seem like the likely opponent. It's a great chance for the Jays to, in a respectful way, be really, really, demonstrative and really loud and get in the way of the opposing team.
I'm so excited for playoff baseball, and the fact that Jays are back in it. It's weird because 2020 they were in it. It didn't feel the same. The 60-game series or season, no fans in the stands. So, like, it's just cool to see the excitement. So my question for you is, who plays second base in this wild card series? Like, has Whit Merrifield done enough at this point with Espinal being injured and Biggio's time being cut back? Is he the starting first baseman or second baseman? Sorry, for the wild card.
I do think that that's likely the case. I mean, there's a chance, and Santiago Espinal is returning. He's doing a lot of workout drills and seems pretty comfortable with his fielding drills. So that's a big step as he comes back from the oblique. So if he's able to play, then he could be mixed in. And especially if you're facing, for example, it's a tough lefty. Maybe Espinal's playing second. Maybe you have Whit Merrifield playing a corner outfield spot. And so you can have both in at the same time. But if it's one or the other, Merrifield started 9 games in a row right now. He's hitting as well as he's hit all year. I think it's his job to roll with, although I'm sure the Jays will find ways to use Espinal at times as well.
Probably in defensive scenarios, later in games, maybe.
Yeah, I think later in games for sure they would use him. Maybe they find starts where they like the matchup better than putting Merrifield out there. But yeah, one way or the other, Merrifield has gone from kind of an afterthought, really underperformed, as you guys know, when he first got here, to being someone who's peaking at the right time, it seems.
Biggio is a bench piece at this point.
Agreed. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. 100% agree. Someone who can contribute. Maybe it's as a base runner potentially. If you have your starting lineup is already has Whit Merrifield in it, for example, and you have Kirk on second base and he's the DH that day. Maybe you bring in Biggio as a defensive or as a pinch runner. He's certainly got the versatility to help you in different situations and just give you an insurance policy off of the bench. But I don't see him starting necessarily unless something drastic changes. I think he's a bench piece going into the playoffs.
John Schneider is going to have some decisions to make. Holy cow. Like, speaking of bench pieces, does Lourdes get relegated to the bench with how little playing time he's had in September? Like, listen, he has been a difference maker for this team all season long. He has lengthened this lineup. He maybe not the power we saw in the past, but I mean, he gets hits. But do you want to put him into a wild card scenario where he's just literally hasn't even got his swing going yet?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, ultimately, we need to see what he's able to do in these last few games here or last few days, because the opener in Baltimore might be in danger of being rained out. So, it really is how far can he push himself physically? Certainly, if it's a rainy field, you're not going to put him out there to do base running drills. So you probably wait until it's a bit drier. You get him out there at some point to run the bases, because it's one thing to swing the bat, but this is someone who's dealing with a hamstring issue. So he really has to be able to make that turn around first. He has to be able to accelerate, decelerate, slide, all these different things. And until he actually does that, it's hard to know when he's ready. So that's, to me, one of the big questions. Otherwise, the Jays do have a lot of outfielders, and Tapia has been doing a solid job. So they're not desperate. And so, to me, unless Lourdes is clearly ready, I think there's a strong case to just let him recover. And then division series, great. You can mix him in at that point.
That is such a great point about Tapia. It's not like we're sitting here looking at this outfield being like, oh my God, we need to figure a way to get whoever out. Because Tapia has been very serviceable.
Oh yeah, he's been really good. I hesitate to like go too far with my praise of Tapia. You look at the season numbers, and the OPS is still, it's not necessarily the territory that the Jays might have hoped it would be, but he can still give them a different look. He can still play some reasonable defense in a corner spot for you, and it's serviceable major league play, and he's come up with some big hits. So he's a major league player, obviously a flawed player in the sense that he'll expand and a little swing happy at times. But certainly in the absence of Lourdes, that's a guy that you want to have around.
Mm-hmm. We really appreciate all of you within the walk-off community. This thing continues to grow and become an animal of its own. It's a little bit overwhelming, but honestly, we love talking Blue Jays baseball and all the interaction that you folks are involved with us. Thank you so much. Discord, feel free to join it. That is always free. The show, or the link is in the show notes. You can follow us on Twitter at Walk Off Podcast, on Instagram, the Walk Off Podcast. And if you are watching on YouTube currently and you're not subscribed, we'd really appreciate if you hit that subscribe button. All the best, everybody. Cheers.